Some time ago, I created a short video on learning JavaScript, but I'm doing another one because now I've created 90 tutorials. It's time to provide a little bit of order to them. The goal of these tutorials is to help those trying to learn JavaScript to move closer and closer to the expert level. I produce a tutorial each week, so make sure you subscribe. In this video, I want to talk a bit about the process of learning JavaScript and provide you with more directed resources, organized playlists of the tutorials that I've already created, and a few additional thoughts. Now, first, I think the best resource for learning JavaScript are my courses. I might be a little biased, but I did spend a lot of time creating them. So if you need a course that goes step by step through learning JavaScript, I would encourage you to take those. I have two courses right now. In the Getting Started course, we introduce JavaScript. We then get started writing code. These are the different sections. And then we cover all of the fundamentals of JavaScript. And then look at control structures. A lot of details with control structures. And then we talk about arrays. We do an introduction with objects. And then manipulating HTML pages, which is an important part of using JavaScript in the browser. And then we have a section on latest JavaScript features to try to keep that course updated with latest releases. And then section 11, debugging and deploying, and then a conclusion. So that's the Getting Started course. I also have an Advanced Topics course. And after the introduction, I begin the first section of Think Like a Programmer. Throughout the Advanced Topic courses, I have several sections that are Think Like a Programmer sections that help you think more like a programmer as if you're in a project or something to that extent. We cover advanced concepts for objects and functions. Another Think Like a Programmer section. We deal with objects, the power of functions. Another Think Like a Programmer. The module pattern. Several different videos dealing with the module pattern. And then working with data. It's an important section on JSON and how to work with that. Think Like a Programmer. We have an entire section on object-oriented programming that goes through an entire project. And then we also have in the bonus section functional programming concepts, which is also valuable for those that are doing advanced JavaScript. So those are the courses. And I think if you choose to go with those, you'll find the depth and coverage needed to learn JavaScript from start to finish, and to learn those more advanced topics in the Advanced Topics course. Now, I've made these courses available in Udemy and on my own website. The course on my website is where I provide more hand-holding. And there are links to these courses in the description section of this video. Now, however, I realize the tutorials I've created may be helpful in learning JavaScript as well, but they'd be more helpful if they're organized in a playlist. Now, I've already created several playlists, but in preparation for this video, I created some additional playlists. Getting Started playlist and Important Concepts. Now, in the Getting Started playlist, I address a lot of topics that are for those new to JavaScript. There's a total of 20 tutorials in this particular playlist. So you can see some of those here: scope, global variables, coercion, hoisting, choosing the right operators, var and let. Those are some of the things that we cover in these. The basics of objects. So that is in the Getting Started playlist. In the Important Concepts playlist, I include tutorials covering the more important concepts of JavaScript. And these may be more difficult to understand, and so I separated them from the Getting Started. This has a total of about 30 tutorials in it, of the total 90 or so I've created. You can see what it covers here. A lot in functions, higher order functions, first class functions, callbacks, closure, a lot dealing with that. And I tried to order these in a way that would make more sense. Immediately invoke function expressions, and we deal with several on closure, working with data, information on objects, setting the prototype, that type of thing. Recursion, couple of tutorials on recursion. Several on arrays and dealing with arrays. And then some miscellaneous ones at the end, XML, loading XML data and working with it at the end as well. Now, there are still numerous tutorials I will be creating. So these playlists don't cover everything, but I think they can be a good resource for you. And as I create additional tutorials, I'll try to fit them in where I feel they belong. Now, I've included a link to these playlists in the description section as well. Now, another resource that I think can be helpful is the list of tutorials on my website. If you go to my website, allthingsjavascript.com, you can click the tutorials link, and it has those tutorials organized by categories. So this may be another way you want to look at those tutorials in addition to the playlists that I've created. Basically what it has is just a link with a description of each tutorial, and they're organized according to these categories here. Once again, I'll include a link to this page in the description section as well. Finally, I want to give a few thoughts about learning JavaScript. Because this language is ubiquitous, there are many resources online for learning JavaScript. It's just very common. And you're able to learn this language on your own because of the resources that are available. But I think that learning should follow a simple process. Here's what I want to mention about that process. Learn, apply, repeat. So the idea behind this is not to wait until you think you understand everything about JavaScript before you start using the language. I think the best way to learn it is you learn something and then you start doing a project. You start working on something with it. That's the apply. So you learn, then you apply. And that's going to help you learn it even better. Then you repeat. So once you finish that project, learn something more, then apply it. And this pattern continues forever. I don't think you stop using this pattern. I think you constantly need to be learning JavaScript. JavaScript is changing all the time, and there's always new things you can learn and then apply. Now, if you're not sure what to pick as a project, well, there are numerous sites on the internet that will help you find projects or challenges, coding challenges that you can use to learn JavaScript. If you just do some Google searches, you can find some learning JavaScript. But my favorite one is probably codefights.com. They have a daily challenge which you can do, and by signing up, you then get emails that tell you about the daily challenge. And so that's another way to incentivize you to go out and try doing some of these projects. Now, these particular challenges may not fit specifically with what you've just learned. And so for that reason, you may want to create your own projects. But I think any sort of project that forces you to use JavaScript and in turn learn, because when you're doing projects, you're going to run into situations where you need to learn more information. Those are a great way to learn. Now, before we are done here, please hit the like button. It can help others find this video on YouTube. Also hit the bell button to be notified about new tutorials. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. I release a new tutorial each week. I've included a link to each of the playlists talked about in this video, so you can click one of those links to access them right away. I've also included a link to my website, allthingsjavascript.com. Thanks for watching.